When Do Children First Become Mean? By Patrick Ryan, Alexandra Pemberton, and Jaylene Fraser. Bullying is seen all over the world, and with the internet being a big aspect of mostly everyone's life, we can see bullying occur with a click of a button. But what about bullying in a preschool environment? What does it look like? How can we prevent it? It can range from name-calling, ignoring, saying, "I don't want to play with you anymore," or showing aggression to a fellow classmate. Even if a young child doesn't understand what they are doing, it's a form of bullying. Encouraging children to have positive interactions will benefit child relationships. The possibility of preschool bullies. By age 3 or 4, children are beginning to become their own individual person, apart from their primary caregiver. Children begin to develop personalities at this age, becoming more independent and gathering their own opinions. Emotional empathy is displayed very early on and continues to develop throughout their life. Emotional empathy is a person's ability to respond appropriately to another's emotions, such as displaying an understanding of why another person is upset or angry, being able to view things from their perspective. They are able to differentiate between emotions as well as understand empathy. Therefore, they are capable of becoming bullies. However, children don't often choose a specific peer and consistently bully them, but rather they move along from one victim to the next, likely due to social immaturity and attention span. Children generally have short attention spans, therefore, the choice of victims remains quite random without any reason. Superhero violence. An aspect that could influence a young child becoming a bully is material they see on television. If they are watching violent crime programs, it could lead to aggressive behavior. But what about television programs that are meant for them? Children are introduced to superheroes at a young age. They can have a huge impact in the life of a young child. A superhero defending their own city from an evil villain, how can that prevent aggressive behavior? Superhero television shows can have high amounts of violence, pro-social behavior, and high content of weapon play with the superhero fighting and defeating the supervillain. When a young child is shown that their favorite superhero, for example, Powerpuff Girls, Spider-Man, or Batman, they could develop a sense that violent behavior is okay in their everyday life. A young child might not know the difference on what is appropriate in a real-life situation and television, then have the sense that being aggressive to a classmate, pretending to be a superhero fighting the evil villain. Once they are much older, they will develop the common sense that being violent to a peer pretending to be a superhero isn't an ethical way of playing. We see the impacts of bullying through school-age children, being and feeling rejected by their peers, being embarrassed on social media outlets, and not wanting to leave their home, and in the worst case, committing suicide to escape their pain. With regards to preschool-age children, the impacts could show differently. If you see sudden changes in behavior, it could show signs of bullying. Your child may seem sad, withdrawn, or angry if they are being bullied. Lost or broken items, damage to possessions like books or missing toys could be an indicator that the child might be bullied at preschool. Symptoms such as headaches, stomach aches, or changes in sleeping and eating habits. Be aware and look for indicators of physical signs of bullying in younger children, as they may not be able to express their emotions through words as effectively as kids who are older. With not having the gross motor skill to express their emotions in words, young children can build up their sorrows and their anger throughout their developing in life. Loss of friends or changes in relationships. Children who are being bullied at preschool could naturally avoid situations because of the declined self-esteem that bullying causes. Long-term effects of bullying can be upsetting to children if the condition is not handled appropriately. Effects of bullying can appear not only in the present mental health of the young child, but can spread far into adulthood. Adults who have a past of being bullied, as children, may have higher rates of anxiety and depression. Depression and anxiety rates in adults who were bullied as children could be high or even higher than those of kids who have been abused. Coping strategies. Through research, it has become evident that young children display their own form of coping strategies when being faced with a bully. A study was done which concluded that there are 5 different types of responses to bullying. This is one of the very few studies that have been done on the coping strategies of preschoolers to bullying. It was observed that the children displayed 5 different types of responses. The first being participative. An example of this behavior might be that the child immediately went to seek help from the adult. The second is withdrawing behaviors. This might be displayed as a child being afraid or confused by the situation. Next is the unclear category. This is the number of preschoolers who displayed responses that were either unclear or unclassifiable. Then there is the dominating response, which is exactly as you might assume. This would be the victim attempting to overpower the bully, using either yelling or more likely by getting physical and using force. Lastly, there is the accommodative stage. This is observed as the victim not displaying a reaction and remaining unfazed throughout the experience. Risk factors. Some researchers have leaned towards the idea that bullying behaviors are developed as a defense mechanism for children who otherwise would have become the victim. This could be children who have visible disabilities or children with mental delays or struggles. These are the children with mental illnesses, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and oppositional defiant disorder, who struggle to maintain appropriate social relationships with their peers. These children immediately recognize their delays and develop a feeling of victimization, which initiates a flight or fight response. Even at 3 or 4 years old, children are able to recognize that they are different than the other children. These insecurities can lead children to display signs of aggression or agitation. Another risk factor that has been explored is the influence of parents on child behaviors. Children can sense the emotions and stressors of adults, therefore, it is no surprise that the hostile behavior of parents, for example, irritability, uncontrollable outbursts of temper, is directly associated with children's externalizing and aggression problems. Children who are raised by parents who are in abusive relationships or by parents who display aggressive parenting styles are more likely to display these behaviors themselves. How can we help? Prevention and interventions. Interventions need to be put into place to help prevent the spread and continuation of bullying behaviors in adolescence and even adulthood. In order for a behavior to be considered bullying, it must be considered repetitive with the intent to cause harm, and the imbalance of power between the bully and the victim. Some say that bullying is an inevitable part of childhood. It is the aggressive behaviors towards specific peers that is the negative behavior that affects the children and can be damaging. Children who engage in bullying from a young age are involved in precursory bullying. Precursory bullying refers to bullying in the future that is destructive to those that are directly affected. For the discontinuation of bullying in young children, it is important that all educators first understand bullying and those aggressive behaviors. There are interventions and prevention programs introduced. With bullying becoming more common in early childhood settings and schools, educators must take initiative to educate and teach preventative bullying measures to young children. Early childhood settings provide the optimal opportunity for educators to prevent bullying behaviors and to implement interventions and programs that prevent such behaviors. It is important to deflect negative behaviors into positive social interactions by using activities that can help build children's social skills to further positive social interactions with their peers. Supports need to be put into place for the children who are at risk of being the victim, to the same as those who are implementing the bullying behaviors. Redirecting children's behavior is a very common practical approach to aggressive behavior as it focuses the child's attention on something else, rather than channeling their attention to the aggression. This requires significant supervision with young children, and not every child can be watched every minute of every day, but daily observation of child behaviors can benefit controlling the negative behaviors. Strategies for prevention. A practice that was used by Levine and Tamarino, 2014, that looked at teaching children about tolerance. What this means is that children need to learn how to accept others for who they are by providing background to unique individuals to find the appreciation of differences in people beginning at a young age. Children are encouraged to resolve conflicts by talking about how they are feeling. Peace circles, daily check-ins, iMessages, and peace journals have been described as being successful conflict resolutions to practice. Conflict resolution programs can be incorporated into schools and early childhood programs so that it can be modeled for children to solve problems with using destructive, negative behaviors. Peace circles can be used to discuss issues with a given person while having the opportunity to discuss solutions. A daily check-in is beneficial for young children to give them the opportunity to start each day with describing how he or she is feeling that day with school and home life. Children tend to naturally use iMessages. These typically contain feeling words such as starting with "I feel like." The purpose is for children to become more aware of their emotions. Peace journals have also been a benefit with young children. Some preschool children are not yet writers, so drawing pictures is a strategy to represent their feelings. Teachers can also benefit from these journals, as it can be a communication tool between them and children. Educators have a huge role in prevention of bullying behaviors by making children feel comfortable with expressing themselves and creating an environment where they are able to make positive relationships with peers. Talking to children about bullying in general by giving examples and discussing strategies for dealing with negative behaviors to help prepare them is beneficial for helping them understand and be reminded about situations that they may face. Teachers should give children leadership opportunities so children can see the positive outcomes, and it gives them hands-on opportunities to practice their skills. When a child is in an early childhood setting, they need to eventually learn the expectations that they will have to follow, and educators enforcing the social interaction strategies will assist in positive outcomes. Young children's roles, social status, and prevention programs. In a study done by Sriracho, 2016, examines 3 different kinds of intervention programs. The OES Bullying Prevention Program, Steps to Respect, a Bullying Prevention Program, and Second Step, a Bullying Prevention Program. The OES program is a school-wide program designed for elementary, middle, and high school children. It was designed to increase peer relationships. 4 major principles involved: warmth, positive interest, and involvement from adults, continuous attention to non-physical allowances for intolerable behaviors, strict guidelines that describe intolerable behaviors and adults serve as authorities, and positive role models. Staff are responsible for creating a positive environment in school and making sure that it is safe for students. It was designed in the 1970s and has been used ever since. Students and parents receive an information packet and school-wide questionnaire on bullying, which provides data to be analyzed and used to evaluate and modify the program. The Steps to Respect program only focused on children in grades 3 to 5. focusing on relational aggression that includes malicious gossip and social disclusion, which is common for this age, improving school staff's understanding, nurturing social conscious values, and teaching social strategies to foster healthy relationships. It helps teach children to become sympathetic towards the bullied children, develop positive social norms, and use more socially acceptable responsive behaviors that they can use when they see bullies in action. This intervention has a specific focus on friendship and the strategies for making and keeping friends by becoming a member of a peer network with skills that practice problem solving and dealing with emotions. Lastly, the Second Step program focused on children who are 4 to 14 years of age, and it concentrates on children's social competence while learning to decrease impulsive and high-risk aggressive behaviors, while increasing their social competence. Children learn skills that help them lessen their impulsive and aggressive behavior towards their peers. This intervention implements group discussion, coaching, modeling, and practice. The skills that they learn are developmentally appropriate to their given age. Bullying is widely recognized in adolescents and teenagers and not as focused on in the preschool years. Preschool is where the social skills originate and when they first face difficulties with interactions. Children as early as 2 years old can face issues with self-regulation and cooperation, with developmentally appropriate transitions. Teaching children positive interactions is crucial for their development. Children who are empathetic to their peers are more likely to surround themselves with positivity and avoid behavioral problems. For the programs for the older children, to be modified for younger children, curriculum-based practice needs to be implemented, as well as young children need role models, people and peers who can demonstrate good social behavior. These intervention programs have been successful in decreasing bullying and peer victimization, and these programs have even been more successful with younger children. Also, here is our reference page, and thank you for listening to our presentation.